Hi there, this is John V, Software Evangelist at JSCAPE, and you're watching a JSCAPE MFT Server tutorial. In this video, we'll show you how to set up an SFTP server using JSCAPE MFT Server. I'll be assuming you already have a basic SFTP service running on your MFT server instance. If you don't have one yet, check out our video entitled Installing an SFTP Server on Windows. Ready? Let's proceed. The first thing we need to do is prepare the server and client keys. SFTP protects file transfers through various security mechanisms including data in motion encryption, two-factor client authentication, and data integrity checks. Data in motion encryption renders files unreadable during transmission, thereby protecting data from eavesdroppers. Strong authentication, on the other hand, prevents imposters from gaining access to files stored on the server. Lastly, data integrity checks ensure that any changes to the data while in transit can be detected. These security mechanisms are implemented through the use of server keys, client keys, and various algorithms. For a thorough discussion on server and client keys, please read the article Roles of Server and Client Keys in Secure File Transfers. SFTP algorithms are covered in the article Setting SFTP Algorithms on Your SFTP Server. We've provided links to those articles in the description so you can check them out after watching the video. Let's now start setting up the server keys. Server keys are used for encrypting your SFTP file transfers. To start setting up your server keys, go to the Server menu and click the Key Manager submenu. Next, navigate to the Server Keys tab and then click the Generate button. Fill up the fields in the Generate Server Key dialog. You'll need to enter the following information. Key alias. The key alias is just the name that will be used in referring to this particular key within the JSCAPE MFT Server Manager environment. For example, your_server_key. Key algorithm. Here you can choose between RSA or DSA. Click the link in the description for an enlightening discussion on these two key algorithms. Key length. Choose between 1024 and 2048. Read the post choosing key lengths for encrypted file transfers if you need more information on the subject. Validity. Here you specify how many days you would like this key to remain valid. Common name or CN. This will be the name of the key. Normally, you would use the domain name of the server. For example, sftp.jscape.com. Organization unit or OU. This is where you indicate the specific unit in your organization that will be using this key. For example, security. Organization or O. This is the name of your organization. Locality or L. This is the name of your city. State or province or ST. This is the name of your state or province. Country or C. This is your two-character country code, for example, US. When you're done, click the OK button. You should now be able to see your newly created server key in the list of server keys. Let's now learn how to set up the client keys. Client keys are used to establish a stronger authentication process during client logins. Basically, regular SFTP logins only require usernames and passwords. But these login credentials can sometimes be obtained by cybercriminals using brute force attacks or social engineering methods. Client keys allow you to add another layer of protection because users would then be required to submit something in their possession, namely their respective client key private keys. In other words, each client key should correspond to a single user. When two different methods of authentication are combined, in this case password authentication and public key authentication, you call it two-factor authentication. This results in a much stronger method of authentication. Read more about SFTP's public key authentication in the article What is an SFTP Key? To set up a client key, go to the Client Keys tab and click the Generate button. You'll then be presented with a dialog similar to the one shown earlier. Most of the fields have exactly the same definition as those fields on the server key dialog except for this two. Key alias. Here we recommend you use the username of the user account this key will be binded with. Common name or CN. This should be the full name of the user. Click the OK button when done. You'll then be asked to specify the name of the file that will hold this key. Make sure the file is saved in the PEM format. Otherwise, you won't be able to use it for SFTP public key authentication. Because it is this file which the user will be required to submit during login, you will have to send this file to the user after it has been created. It's just a file, so you can send it via email, burn it to a CD, or copy it to a USB stick. As an added layer of protection, you can also specify a password, better known as a passphrase, for this file. Make sure you tell your users to keep their private key files in a secret location. Click the OK button when done. You should now be able to see your newly created client key in your list of client key certificates. At this point, you would have already successfully prepared your server and client keys. We now move on to the steps of using these keys on our existing SFTP service. To use these keys on an existing SFTP service, go back to the JSCAPE MFT Server Manager main screen, navigate to the Domains tab, select the domain of the server whose SFTP service you want to edit, and then click the Edit button. Next, go to the Services module, select the SFTP service, and then click the Edit button. In the private key drop-down list, select the alias of the server key you created earlier. Finally, choose password and public key from the list of authentication methods. This will enable SFTP two-factor authentication, meaning a user who attempts to log into your SFTP server will have to enter his username and password and load his private key file, that's a file you downloaded earlier and sent to your user, before he or she will be allowed entry. Click the OK button to proceed. Your SFTP service is now enabled for two-factor authentication. The final step is to associate client keys to users. Go to the Users module, select the user whom you would like to associate the newly created client key with, and click Edit. Ideally, each key should only be associated with one user. To associate a client key with a user, scroll down and then tick the checkbox beside the name of the client key you want to associate or bind with this user. Click OK once you're done. If you want to learn how to connect to this service using an SFTP client and to actually exchange files with it, read the article, How to Use an SFTP Client. That's it. Now you know how to set up your SFTP server.